the Buffalo Bills are serious about making a run in Doy's Mill, Evgeny Cinco. It's time for them to stop playing cute football and start leaning into what makes this team unique. Forget the gimmicks and forget trying to be something they're not. The key to unlocking the full potential of this roster starts on the offensive side of the ball, and it begins with something very simple, getting back to creating mismatches. This team was built to win by stressing defenses in ways most teams can't, and for some reason, they've drifted away from that identity. Look, when you've got a quarterback like Josh Allen, an offensive line that's been more than solid, and a set of versatile weapons that most coordinators would dream about, there's no excuse for not putting stress on opposing defenses every single drive. And how do the Bills do that best? With heavy personnel, 2 and sometimes 3 tight ends, a fullback, maybe 2 running backs on the field. That's the stuff that keeps defensive coordinators up at night. Because now you're forcing teams into a dilemma. Do they match your size and risk getting beat through the air by versatile pass catchers like Dalton Kincaid and James Cook? Or do they stay in lighter formations and get steamrolled on the ground? That's where the Bills were at their most dangerous, when they could run and pass from the same looks. That's what two-dimensional really means. Not just being able to run and pass, but doing it from formations that make the defense guess wrong. Instead, what we've seen recently is the offense leaning too heavily into spread looks, 3 wide receiver sets, and trying to win with timing routes and finesse. That's not what this team was built to do, and the results have been inconsistent at best. You look at games like the ones against New England and Atlanta, and it's hard not to come away disappointed. Against the Patriots, you're dealing with a defense that lacks coverage skills at linebacker and safety. So why not throw from heavy sets and force them to defend in space? They did it twice, and both plays went for over 20 yards. That's it, 2 times. Then against Atlanta, you're up against the lightest defensive front in football. That's a team begging to get run on. But instead of leaning into their physicality, the Bills tiptoed around the game plan and again left meat on the bone. When Sean McDermott says this offense got too cute, this is exactly what he's talking about. The Bills stopped doing what makes them special. So, step 1 to turning this season around is simple. Go back to your bread and butter. Let your big people dictate games. Let defenses worry about how to cover Knox, Kincaid, Cook, and whoever else you line up with them. Because no one's scared of 11 personnel right now. But when you bring out Reggie Gilliam, when you stack those tight ends, when you start running power and then sneak in play action with a guy like Josh Allen who can sling it 50 yards off platform, that's when defenses get tight. That's when they start guessing. That's when the Bills become the team nobody wants to play. But here's the thing. If you're going to commit to that style, you got to put the right players on the field. And that brings us to a hard truth. Right now, Keon Coleman is playing way too much football. This is not about writing him off as a bust or pretending he doesn't have potential. He's got size, he's got flashes, but let's be real, he has not earned the role he's being given. The man leads the team in snaps among wide receivers and leads in targets. That's not just a questionable decision. That's malpractice. This coaching staff talks all the time about how playing time is earned. Well, what exactly did Keon Coleman do to earn the lion's share of the reps? Because it's not showing up on tape. He's been suspended twice for immaturity and not being locked in at the facility. His route running? Inconsistent. Separation? Rare. And his efficiency metrics? Ugly. You can't have a guy leading your receiving core in volume who's ranked in the bottom half of the league in nearly every major statistical category. It doesn't add up. And while Coleman is out there eating up targets, you've got 2 guys who are quietly putting up elite efficiency numbers being underutilized. Dalton Kincaid and Josh Palmer. Let's talk about those 2. Among all NFL players with at least some routes run, Kincaid ranks quarto in yards per route run. He's not just producing. He's doing it efficiently, finding space, catching everything, and making life easier for Allen. Josh Palmer? He's in the top quins among wide receivers in that same stat. These guys aren't just making plays. They're making the most out of every opportunity they get. So why aren't they getting more? It's frustrating because the answer is right there. You want to help your quarterback? Get the ball to your most reliable weapons. You want to make defenses pay for spying on Allen or playing soft zones. Use guys that know how to find holes and create yards after the catch. Instead, you're feeding targets to a player who hasn't proven he deserves them. That's not how you win games in this league. The data backs this up too. There's a stat called yards per target over expectation that shows just how much value a player adds beyond what's expected based on coverage and throw location. Kincaid ranks oitavo in the entire league. Palmer is right behind him at decimo segundo. Kean Coleman, octogesimo quinto. That's not a small gap, that's a canyon. So the fix here is obvious. More Kincaid, more Palmer, less Coleman. Start rewarding efficiency, not draft status. Just because Coleman was picked early and had Josh Allen's endorsement doesn't mean he's entitled to the #1 receiver role out of the gate. And while we're talking about underused weapons, let's not forget the running backs, specifically in the passing game. The Bills have 3 guys in James Cook, Ty Johnson, and Ray Davis who can all catch the ball and create after the catch. Yet through 6 games, the entire running back room has just seat receptions. That's absurd. That number should be doubled. Think about it. Only 14% of the team's passing targets have gone to running backs. That ranks trigesimo in the NFL. Bottom 3. And this is with a quarterback who constantly faces spies and mirror coverage because of his ability to scramble. The best way to make defenses pay for dedicating a defender to spy on Allen is to throw to the backs. Make that linebacker choose. You're going to sit on Allen? Fine. Now he's dumping it to Cook, who's got speed and elusiveness in the open field. That's how you punish teams. That's how you keep them honest. Right now, the Bills are letting defenses get away with it. James Cook is tailor-made for this role. The drops he had last year? Forget them. This guy gets open. He creates mismatches. Let him run real routes, not just swing passes or screens. Same with Ty Johnson and Ray Davis. You've got 3 backs who can hurt you in the air. Start acting like it. If the Bills want to take the next step offensively, it's going to come from spreading the ball around. And that includes the backfield. So when you put all of this together, you start to see the picture forming. The Bills' offense is not broken. Far from it. But it's underachieving. It's misaligned. The talent is there. The line is solid. Josh Allen is still one of the most dynamic quarterbacks in the league. But the usage, the personnel decisions, the formations, they've drifted away from what makes this unit dangerous. Go back to the formula that puts defenses in conflict. Use your big people to dictate matchups. Elevate your most efficient weapons in Kincaid and Palmer. Reduce the reliance on players who aren't producing, like Coleman. And don't forget about the running backs in the passing game. They're an untapped resource. These changes aren't drastic. They don't require a full system overhaul. But they do require self-awareness and the willingness to put egos aside and play to this team's strengths. Now, flipping to the other side of the ball, let's talk about the defense, because while the offense has underperformed due to choices, the defense has simply been held together with duct tape and patches. Injuries have hit hard. Depth has been tested beyond reason, and yet the expectations remain. But if the Bills are serious about making a run, they have to stabilize this defense quickly, and it starts with integrating the reinforcements they've brought in. Michael Hocht and Larry Ogunjobi are not saviors, but they're significant upgrades over what the Bills have been forced to rely on at this point. Let's start with Ogunjobi. He's not going to show up and dominate the box score, but what he brings is veteran presence and consistency at a position that has seen nothing but chaos. Over 60% of the Bills' defensive tackle snaps so far this year have gone to rookies or practice squad-level players. That's not sustainable, not when you're trying to contend. Ogunjobi has played a lot of football in this league. He's seen every kind of run scheme, every protection call. He may not be the flashiest player on the field, but he knows how to anchor, how to fill his gap, and most importantly, how not to be the liability that some of the young guys have been. In a single-gap defense like Buffalo's, a misstep by one lineman can turn into a 20-yard run. Ogunjobi helps eliminate those mental and physical breakdowns. Now imagine a healthy rotation at defensive tackle that includes Ed Oliver, Ogunjobi, Daquan Jones, and rookie Dwayne Carter once he's fully up to speed. That's a solid interior group. That's a group that lets your linebackers roam more freely and gives your edge rushers a real chance to win outside. Which brings us to Michael Hocht. This is a player who might actually move the needle if used right. He's got versatility, he's got length, and he brings energy. The Bills haven't had much consistency from their edge rotation outside of Joey Bosa and A.J. Epineza, and both of those guys have played too many snaps already. Poached gives you an opportunity to not only take some of that load off them, but also increase the flexibility in your rush schemes. The Bills have had over 100 snaps go to Javon Solomon and Landon Jackson. With all due respect, that's not helping your pass rush. Poach brings more than just a warm body. He brings urgency, effort, and enough athleticism to disrupt plays, even if he's not putting up double-digit sacks. Get him involved. Let him rotate in. Dial up some creative fronts with him standing up, or even moving inside on passing downs. He allows you to be more dynamic. But fixing the defense goes beyond just the trenches. One of the biggest lingering issues on this team is the linebacker play. Terrell Bernard may be the coaching staff's guy at Mike linebacker, and maybe they're committed to that path, but it's getting harder and harder to ignore the fact that Shaq Thompson has been the most reliable linebacker on this roster all season. He's been consistent, physical, and smarter with his reads. So the question becomes, how do you get your best linebacker on the field more often? The Bills have played in base defense just under a quarter of the time. That's one place to start. Get Thompson on the field in those sets. But it might be time to consider more drastic changes. Maybe you shift Bernard to the weak side and let Shaq run the middle. Maybe you rotate Thompson and more in nickel. However you do it, he needs to be more involved. The linebacker unit has not been good enough, especially against the run and in zone coverage. If you have a player who's been consistently showing up, you find a way to make room for him. The bottom line is that Thompson is too good right now to be standing on the sideline while this defense gets gashed. And then there's the secondary, perhaps the most frustrating and complex part of this defense right now. The reality is Tre'Davious White is a shell of what he once was. It's not a knock on the guy. He's battled back from multiple brutal injuries, and he's doing what he can, but he simply can't move the same way anymore. He's hesitant, he's giving too much cushion, and he's not making plays. The sad truth is he's become a liability, and opponents know it, which means the clock is ticking on getting rookie Maxwell Hairston ready to go. The Bills spent a first-round pick on him for a reason. The physical tools are there. He's smart, he's aggressive, and once he's healthy and up to speed, he has a legitimate shot to elevate this defense. But this is not a situation where you throw him into the fire. He hasn't practiced since late July and barely had any padded sessions before the injury. This is going to take time, and the Bills need to be patient but deliberate. Before we dive back in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest Buffalo Bills updates straight to your screen. And hey, don't hold back. Let us know your thoughts on today's news down in the comments. In a shocking twist that has sent ripples through the NFL community, whispers are circulating that the Buffalo Bills are making a bold, unprecedented move to snatch defensive powerhouse Aaron Donald from a direct rival. Known for his relentless dominance on the defensive line, Donald has long been the cornerstone of his current team's defense, striking fear into quarterbacks league-wide. But now, sources hint that Buffalo, never one to shy away from high-stakes gambles, might be preparing a blockbuster acquisition that could redefine the AFC landscape. The rumor, still unconfirmed, suggests that the Bills are positioning themselves to outmaneuver their fiercest competition, a team that has long prided itself on defensive supremacy. If true, this would mark one of the most audacious moves in recent NFL history, prying a generational talent from a rival's grasp. Insiders speculate that Buffalo's front office is exploring every avenue, be it trades, draft capital, or salary cap gymnastics, to make this vision a reality. The mere possibility has ignited fervor among fans and analysts alike, with social media exploding in speculation over the terms and implications of such a seismic shakeup. For Aaron Donald, the prospect of joining Buffalo carries immense intrigue. The Bills boast a high-octane offense complemented by a passionate fan base and a culture of championship ambition. Pairing Donald with Buffalo's current defensive unit could create one of the most intimidating front lines in the league, potentially altering the balance of power in the AFC for years to come. Meanwhile, the potential fallout for his current team, losing a cornerstone player to a direct competitor, could reverberate far beyond the field, impacting morale, strategy, and fan sentiment. While no official announcements have been made, the NFL rumor mill is buzzing louder than ever. Experts are divided, some warning that the complexity of such a deal makes it improbable, while others insist that Buffalo's aggressive approach and Donald's elite talent make the impossible seem plausible. Whatever the truth, one thing is certain. The mere suggestion that Aaron Donald could be wearing a Bills jersey next season has captured the imagination of fans nationwide. If this deal materializes, it wouldn't just be a trade, it would be a declaration. Buffalo is all in, and the AFC's pecking order may never be the same. That's a wrap for now. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay on top of all things Buffalo Bills, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what you think in the comments. See you in the next update.